Hello, beautiful ladies. Welcome to the masterclass. Thank you for being here. Just give me 2 seconds while I get myself organized here. I'm just going to share my screen so I can get my PowerPoint up. And then we're going to go, whoops. We're going to go slideshow from beginning. Okay, and I think we are all set here, and I'm just going to make sure that this is working, and hopefully it is. But again, welcome to the masterclass. Thanks for being here. And this is how to get started with PeriMenopause nutrition, specifically for fat loss. And today I'm going to show you 3 simple steps to getting started on and how to tweak your nutrition to really promote fat loss as a woman over the age of 40, and how to do it without feeling overwhelmed or frustrated. And I should have added this, but deprived, okay? Does that sound good? So I really like ladies to participate. So if that sounds good, I want you to give me a yes in the comments right now. And if you are joining me live, put a live, let me know where you are joining me from. I'm keeping an eye on it right here on my phone so that I can see who's here. If you're catching the replay, put a replay in the comments and let me know where you are joining me from, because I love to know where ladies are joining and who's watching. And I will be keeping an eye on the messages as well for questions. So if you have any questions as we're going through the material, feel free to pop them in. And I will get them there, okay? Now, if you are joining me here today, I'm going to guess that this is not the first time that you have signed up to a course or a webinar or something to learn about fat loss. Am I right? Put a me in the comments if you have been trying to figure it out for a while. And if you are, this is maybe one of the multiple courses that you have been to. And I can see who's here. I can see Cassie. Hi, Cassie. I can see Zahida. I can see Christine. So good morning, ladies. So the first thing that I want to say to you is that if you have failed in the past to lose weight, so you've been on different programs and it has not worked out, it is not your fault. There is a lot of crappy information out there, and it can be super, super confusing. So what I want to start by doing right now is I just want to tell you that if you are kind of like, maybe you've lost hope, maybe you're just feeling frustrated and confused and overwhelmed, I want you to know that weight loss, and specifically fat loss, is possible in perimenopause, okay? So I want to if you're just like, this is it, maybe I just have to sort of accept that this is the status quo moving forward, I want to crush that belief right now. And I want to let you know that you can still lose unwanted fat in your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, and your 70s. It doesn't matter how old you are. Just recently, you guys, I shared one of my clients who is 73 or 74, I can't remember. And in our first 4 months of working together, she lost 19 pounds in her 70s. That is unbelievable. So yes, it's possible. You just need the right strategies. And unfortunately, a lot of these big corporate weight loss companies like Weight Watchers, New, Beachbody, their programs will tell you that all you have to do is eat less and move more, and you're going to lose weight. And I'm here to tell you that that is wrong. They are wrong, because weight loss is much more complicated than that, especially for women over the age of 40 in perimenopause, in menopause, post-menopause, that have all of these changes that are happening both to their hormones and to their metabolism. So that's why we're here today, okay? So if you are here because, you want to lose weight, or you want the number on the scale to reflect what it did back in your 30s, or, you want to look in the mirror and like what you see, like you don't want to have this hyper focus on your belly, because so many women gain weight on their belly, right? You want to stop the negative self-talk. You want to feel sexy. You want to feel like your own self again. You want to feel in control of your body. And I want to show you how to make that happen in this webinar. Does that sound good? Give me a yes in the comments if you are excited to learn more, ladies. All right. So who is this class for? So are you in the right place? So in this masterclass, I really want to help two types of women. So if you are the woman who is already making healthy choices, you think you're doing everything right, but you're not getting results. So I want to show you why eating clean and watching your portion sizes possibly isn't enough anymore and what to do instead. And if you're brand new to nutrition, like maybe you've never really thought about your nutrition, but suddenly, you're in your 40s or maybe your 50s, and suddenly you're like, oh my God, I'm gaining weight, I'm feeling inflamed, I'm moody, I can't sleep anymore. And maybe now you're starting to think, okay, well, maybe now is the time to like start thinking about nutrition. Then for you, I want to start to give you some just a good understanding of some basic starting points that you can start to address. Okay. So ultimately, what I wanted, the main goal of this whole presentation is to show you that the only way that you can really address unwanted weight gain, especially on your belly, because again, this is what happens, right? As I talk to women all the time, they're like, I get thick right around my trunk. Okay, so we're talking about fat loss, but specifically, I want to talk about belly fat because I know that's where women want to lose it. And the only way you're going to do that is if you address the hormonal imbalances and the metabolic changes that come with aging. Okay, that's step number one. The next thing you need to understand is that the only way that you're going to address these hormonal changes and these metabolic changes is by adapting or adopting, I should say, a perimenopause specific nutrition and lifestyle. Okay. In other words, cookie cutter programs probably won't work for you anymore. You need an approach that seriously was custom designed for you in this stage of your life. Okay. So if you are new around here, I know we've had a lot of women join the group recently. So I just want to tell you a little bit about me. I've been in the health and wellness industry for almost 15 years now. I started my career as a personal trainer, and from there, I decided to pursue my true passion, which is nutrition. I love talking about nutrition. I will talk about it for hours. I won't today, I promise. We'll probably be here for about 45 minutes, maybe an hour, depending on how many questions you have. But I've been studying nutrition for quite some time. I'm a board certified health and wellness coach, and I have dedicated the last 7 years of my career to specifically helping women in perimenopause and beyond that want to get rid of unwanted weight, stubborn weight loss, and how to do it in a healthy and sustainable way. That is what I do. But it was not that long ago that I was just like you. And I knew absolutely nothing about hormones. I knew nothing about weight loss resistance. I knew nothing about perimenopause or menopause. And I was super frustrated because I was working as a personal trainer, and the majority of my clients, about 80% of my clients, were all females in their 40s and 50s and 60s. And I was giving them killer workouts, but they were not getting results. Okay. And so I was frustrated because I couldn't help them. So I want to share a little bit of a story with you. And, I like to teach 3 stories. And this story is going to give you a little bit of a sense of sort of why I do what I do today. Okay. So like I said, I was working as a personal trainer. This is like 15 years ago, however long ago it was. And, I did a cert, and there was like maybe 1 chapter on nutrition. Back in that day, I was a super huge fan of Toscarino, the clean eating queen. And so when I was, training my clients, I would tell them about the clean eating diet and the clean eating rules. And, kind of while I'm stretching them at the end of the session, I would be like, hey, this is how you have to eat, blah, blah, blah. And I quickly realized that, a couple of sessions of exercise every week and, trying to eat clean or, just instructing, that was not enough. My clients were not getting results. Sure, they were getting killer workouts. They were building muscle. They were getting stronger, but ultimately most of my clients came to me because they wanted to lose weight and they weren't really losing any weight. Okay. So that was my first sort of like aha moment when I realized, okay, exercise is not going to cut it. So that's when I decided to go out and learn about nutrition. And I trained with a company called Precision Nutrition. Now, this is a worldwide leader in nutrition. Like, they train Nike athletes and these big athletes all over the world. And it's, it's science-based and it's all of this. So I trained with them. I did all of my certs. I learned all about like biochemistry and metabolic pathways and all these things. And then I had this amazing program, this 12-month program that was like, again, science-driven. And I was like, yes, this is it. I've got it. I'm going to go back to all my clients. I'm going to get them on this program and everyone's going to lose weight. And they didn't. Okay. One client specifically that I want to tell you guys about, and I think you guys will relate to her a little bit. So maybe not completely, but in some elements. So this is one woman that I used to work with. And so she was a personal trainer, and in her late 40s, early 50s, I can't quite remember, she decided that she was going to enter a bodybuilding competition. And I realize you probably haven't done that, but that's okay. Bear with me here. So she went into this bodybuilding competition and she got shredded like I've never been that shredded. So she hired a coach, and she was, working out like super intensely and being very diligent with her nutrition. Got down to, I don't even know what kind of percentage of body fat, did her competition, came in first, which is amazing. But then after the competition, she relaxed a little bit. She met a guy. She started packing on some weight because they were going out for dinners and drinking wine and blah, blah, blah. And anyway, so she gained some weight. And by now she's in her early 50s. And she's like, okay, well, the honeymoon phase is over. And so now I've got to get my weight back on track. So she did all of the things that she knew how to do, and nothing was working. Nothing was working. And so she came to me, and I was like, I'll put you on my precision nutrition program. Like, it's a 12 months, it's backed by science, blah, 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 blah. So I put it on it. So she got on it. We're 10 months into the program, and she has maybe lost 3 pounds. Okay. I suffice to say, not super pumped with her results, of course. And, and so she started looking elsewhere, as we do. And I'm sure you've done this. So raise your hand. Who goes on Google and is like, fat loss for women over 40? I'm sure you've Googled that before. Put a yes in the comments if that is you. And that is exactly what she did. She started looking for answers online. And what did she come up with? She came up with keto. Don't worry, this is not about keto, but this is part of the story. So she came up with keto. And so she started using a ketogenic approach. And she didn't tell me about it at first because I was still her nutrition coach at that point. And about 3 weeks in, she's like, Haley, I started keto and I've lost 6 pounds. And she was so excited. And I was like, okay, but like keto is like, it's a fad. It's not very healthy. I don't think this is a great idea, but whatever. She kept going. So now we're about 6 weeks in, and she comes back and she's like, look at my belly. And she's like lifting up her shirt and she's showing me how flat her belly is. And she's like, I've got so much energy and this is amazing. And I have no cravings and I'm eating all this yummy food. Come and try my fat bombs. And she was like so amazed. And I think at this point she'd lost like 12 or 14 pounds. So as you can imagine, with my precision nutrition 12-month program backed by science, I'm like, what is happening here? What on earth am I missing? Like, I'm missing something clearly, because none of my clients are getting results. And yet she goes on this for 6 weeks and she's getting all of these results. So I decided, okay, I've got to look into this. And so I started learning about keto, the science of keto. And I went down this rabbit hole of learning about keto and hormones and metabolism and PeriMenopause and menopause. And what I came to realize is that basically, well, there's a lot of different things that I realized, but this is one of the things that came up in this whole thing. There's a lot of different hormonal changes that happen to women when they are going through perimenopause and menopause. One of which is our estrogen levels start to decline. There is a massive connection between estrogen and insulin. And you can see from some of the papers that I've got here, Understanding Weight Gain at Menopause talks about insulin. The role of estrogen in weight loss, I don't know if you can see that. I can't see it at the top here. Anyways, the purpose here is I started looking into the research. This is PubMed. You can go in and look it up yourself if you want to. It's kind of like all the research. And basically what's happening here is that as women are starting to see changes in their estrogen levels, they're also seeing an increase in insulin resistance. There are other reasons that we see this increase, but this is one of them. We also become more sedentary. We've got 10 to 20 years of potentially poor eating habits that are catching up to us. Anyways, there's lots of things going on. But if you don't know what insulin is, I'm not going to go into a deep dive here, but insulin is basically a hormone that tells your body to store energy or store fat, okay? So understand that as we're aging, that is going up. Keto lowers insulin, and this is why it works, okay? So now, again, you probably don't want to try keto. And like I said, don't worry, this training is not about keto. But what I want you to understand is that the nutritional choices that you make, the foods that you eat, will have an impact on your hormones. And your hormones will have an impact on your ability to lose fat, okay? That's what I want you to pick up from that little story here. So there's kind of like two things that you need to know, or two things to remember. Number one, when it comes to your hormones, I want you to think Goldilocks. Your hormones like to be just as is. Remember, Goldilocks is like not too hot, not too cold, but just right. Well, with your hormones, it's like not too low, not too high, but just right. And your nutrition will decide if they're going up or if they're going down. Like you can have an influence on that, which is really amazing when you're going through a phase in your life where hormonal imbalances are happening. And I want you to understand that you have some control over these hormonal changes that are happening, okay? So here's how most traditional diets work. And you probably have tried them in your past, but essentially what's happening is you eat less food and you exercise more, and you're essentially trying to get yourself into a caloric deficit, and you're forcing your body to use stored energy in your fat cells, right? To lose weight. Now, I don't know if you know this, but traditional diets, this is not an invented stat. They don't work 97% of the time, okay? There's a 3% success rate, which is pretty terrible. And here's why. It's because your body, it always wants to be in homeostasis, which is its happy place. It's where everything is good. And as part of that, it's gauging constantly calories in, calories out. And if there's a discrepancy, it's trying to fix that. So if you are eating less calories than your body is expending, eventually your body is going to be like, okay, well, this is a bad situation. This can't go on forever. So let's slow down our metabolism so that calories in, calories out match up again. So your metabolism slows down. Your body starts sending hormonal signals to your brain. Eat food, go get some bread, go get some cookies, go get some ice cream. You get tired, your motivation starts to dwindle. You don't realize this, but your body is literally fighting against you to get you to eat. And so what happens is that women quit their diet because they, eventually their willpower muscle just kind of get to weak, but they've also now got a slower metabolism. So they go back to eating the way they could, they gain the weight and then some. Okay, this is not a good situation. We don't want to be in that situation. But that is only one model of weight loss. It's called CICO, calories in, calories out. And like I said, it fails 97% of the time. Some women can pull it off, most of us cannot. But there is a different model for weight loss, and this is a hormones first approach. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. And what it refers to is it's about eating in a way that is going to, once again, address the hormonal changes and the metabolic challenges of perimenopause, of menopause, of postmenopause, so that you can encourage your body to lose weight and to lose fat specifically, but to do it without starving yourself, without going on a 1,200 calorie diet, without, being hungry, without cravings, without damaging your metabolism. Does this make sense so far? Can you put a yes in the comments if this is making sense? And let me know, do you want to learn about how to do this for yourself? I would love to hear from you. All right, so we're going to move on. I'm going to show you, I want to show you Alice. So this is a woman who, you know, she came to a webinar just like you, and, you know, decided to make some of the changes that I'm going to be talking about today. And this is how she transformed her body in 3 months. Okay. Now, as you can see on the left-hand side, you know, a little bit puffy, a little bit of belly fat, a little bit inflamed. Again, she learned how to work with her hormones. And 3 months later, we've lost belly fat, we've lost that inflammation. And just so you know, while she was doing this, she was still having wine every once in a while, you know, still making cookies with her grandkids. She wasn't doing any kind of crazy workouts, like nothing like that. No weight loss supplements, okay? So just want to show you what can happen, okay? All right, so here's what we're going to cover in the next 30 minutes or so. So we're going to talk about 3 steps here. So step number 1, mindset. Mindset matters most because you probably, at this point in your life, you probably have some limiting beliefs that are getting in the way of making changes. So we're going to talk about that. Step number 2, we're going to talk about controlled carbohydrate nutrition. Like I said, it's not keto, it is controlled carbohydrate nutrition specific for perimenopause fat loss, and how this is going to help you to boost your energy and burn belly fat, right? All kinds of fat, but specifically that stubborn belly fat without feeling hungry all the time, okay? Because that is the key to staying on track, like long term. And then our 3rd step is we're going to talk about what the controlled carb plate is. And I'm going to give you a super simple tool so that you can start to give your body the macronutrients that it needs. And we'll talk about what that is. Again, so that you can have much more energy and so that you can burn belly fat and you won't have to count calories. You won't have to track macros. Super, super simple stool. Okay? Are you guys ready? Should we get started here and go into those 3 steps? Put a yes in the comments for me, ladies. All righty. So step number 1, break down any limiting beliefs that are holding you back. And I'm going to give you another little quick story here. So going back to the woman that I was working with who decided to try keto, right? And again, when she first told me that she was going to do keto, I was like, it's unhealthy, it's a fad, you know, this is not good. But again, when I saw all of her results, I was curious. I was like, what is this? Like, how is this possible? And I swear our phones listen to our conversations, because lo and behold, about 2 days after we had our conversation, I'm scrolling Facebook and up pops an ad for a seminar about ketogenic diets. And, you know, again, is it serendipity? No, it's that our phone actually listens to us. But anyways, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to sign up. So I sign up for this seminar. And it's like a 2 or 3 day seminar. And I listen to all of these different experts, and there's like doctors and naturopaths and dietitians and all of these people talking about the science of keto and their experience with keto. And I will tell you, I was completely blown away. In that one weekend, they took some of my most ingrained beliefs about nutrition and they slayed them. Like, you know, again, I came from precision nutrition, a very balanced nutrition, like backed by science. And I was of the opinion that we need carbs and fat, and too much fat is bad for you. But at the end of this seminar, I was like, oh my God, what if I've got it all wrong? What if there's more to this? What if there's more to this? And, you know, I decided to try keto, and I'll tell you a little bit about that experience later. But if I hadn't have gone to that seminar, where would I be today? Because it has had such an impact on my life. But, you know, I could at this point, you know, I could be tired all the time. I used to struggle with really bad insomnia. I could be at this point overweight. My moods could be all over the place. I could be very unhappy. This group probably wouldn't exist. But I needed to let go of those beliefs and try something completely different that went against everything that I believed in to unlock where I am today. Okay. So we all have limiting beliefs, right? And I've been taking a course recently with someone called Dean Grazioso. I don't know how he says his name, but anyways, you may have heard of him. He's a motivational speaker, and he helps entrepreneurs. And every week he gives us like this big pep talk about, go out there and think big and make your dreams become a reality. And just this past Monday, he said something that really spoke to me. He said, don't let old habits talk you out of a new future. Don't let old habits talk you out of a new future. I put that up on my profile page. And I'm going to add to that, don't let old beliefs talk you out of a new future. And so maybe right now, like maybe you're feeling a little bit skeptical, right? Maybe you're just like, okay, well, I'm going to listen, but I'm feeling a bit skeptical. And, you're just not sure about this. I'm going to ask you for the next like 20, 25 minutes to really be open-minded and just willing to explore new ideas, new beliefs around food, okay? If you've never had to worry about nutrition before and you're just like, I don't know, this is already overwhelming, all I want you to do is be willing to work on the first step. And if you already know a ton about nutrition, like maybe you're a nutrition coach that's joined my group and you're just like, oh my God, here we go again, low carb nutrition. I want you to approach this with a beginner's mind and just again, be willing to explore new ideas, okay? We're gonna be talking about what I call controlled carb nutrition. And so I'm going to ask you, like, what comes up here? Like, what comes up here? So I've put some thoughts up on the screen here of what might be coming up. Like, cutting carbs isn't healthy. Cutting carbs is too restrictive. I don't think I can do this. It might work for some women, but it's not going to work for me. I don't have time to figure all of this out. I don't like cooking, right? These are all what we call limiting beliefs. So again, don't let old habits or beliefs get in the way of a brand new future or get in the way of you getting some fat loss, okay? If you're here right now, my guess is that, either you're suddenly starting to gain weight and you don't know what to do about it, or maybe you've tried everything and nothing works. Maybe you're feeling like super bloated and every night you go to bed and you're just like, what is happening here? Maybe you drag yourself out of bed every morning and all day long, you're just dragging your feet and you have zero energy. Maybe you really want to lose weight, but you don't want to go on a diet. You're like, I've never been on a diet before. I've never had to deal with this. I don't want to go on a diet, right? These are all, this is why I'm guessing this is why you're here, because when I talk to women, this is what they tell me, right? So just be open to the possibility that you're missing something, okay? Be open to the possibility that your old beliefs might be getting in the way, okay? And stick with me and I'm going to show you how to fix that. All right. Shall we move on to step number 2 and start talking about controlled carb nutrition? Put a yes in the comments if you are ready for that. And I'm just quickly looking to see if there's any questions so far. I don't think I see anything, so I am going to keep going here. We're going to move on to step number 2. So step number 2, controlled carb nutrition for perimenopause, fat loss specifically. Right, so we're going to be talking about one of the hormones that can have an impact. I've already talked about it. It's insulin, okay? But this is sort of like where we're going here with this part, okay? So again, I said I was going to tell you guys about my experience with keto, so I'm just going to kind of explain that here. We're not going to go into keto nutrition, but I want you to understand, this is going to help you understand. So again, after going to that seminar, I was like, okay, fine, I'm going to give this a try because, I never want to recommend anything to my clients before I've tried it myself. So I was like, okay, I'm going to give this a try. And what happened really, really surprised me. So before I went on keto, I was already eating quite well. I was doing like a paleo approach. I was eating whole foods, but I had some struggles. Number 1, I had terrible insomnia. Number 2, I had like mild IBS. I had what's called reactive hypoglycemia. So like my blood sugar levels would drop and I'd get kind of like shaky and irritable and hangry. So I had to eat like every 2 to 3 hours. So, I had some stuff going on. And so then I went into this ketogenic approach and I was amazed because the thing that fascinated me the most was my energy. I still have energy to this day, and I'm going to teach you how to do that. But I had so much energy. I never was tired in the afternoon. I didn't have that sort of afternoon slump. My sleep improved. And I had like control over my hunger and over my appetite. Like I didn't have to eat all of the time. The people that I used to work with at the gym, they used to laugh because if I was there all day, I'd have like breakfast and snack and lunch and a snack and another snack just in case. And when I started shifting into this keto and changing my macros, suddenly like I could go 4 or 5 hours. So you can imagine, like if you're not snacking all day long, just that alone, is going to help you if you have a weight loss goal, right? But I didn't like how restrictive it was. And I quickly realized, okay, keto is amazing. It makes me feel amazing, but this is not sustainable. I am not going to give up potatoes for the rest of my life. Like this is, and I am of the opinion that if you're going to try something to lose weight, you've got to figure out how to make it something that you can do for the rest of your life. Because if you don't, you're just going to put the weight back on, right? Or you're going to lose your energy. Like you can't go back to what you were doing before because clearly that isn't working. So you've got to find something sustainable. So I started to play around with adding more carbs into my diet. And I realized that I could get the benefits of being in ketosis, of being on a ketogenic diet, but still enjoy more flexibility. Okay. And basically what this boils down to is that I found my unique tolerance for carbohydrates. Okay. So, it was just about figuring out, well, how many carbs can my body tolerate before I gain weight or I stop sleeping or my moods shift or my hypoglycemia comes back or whatever it may be. And the beautiful thing is that this sort of unique tolerance for carbohydrates, it can shift. And once you get your hormones to a place where they are balanced out, and once your metabolism is working the way it should be, you can have more carbs. So it's not set in stone. Your metabolism is not set in stone. Your hormones are not set in stone. Your unique tolerance for carbohydrates is not set in stone. It moves, okay? I want to show you another client of mine. And, this woman, again, when she came to me, she was like, you know what, my metabolism is it's pretty fast. Like I've never really had to worry about what I eat, but now I'm starting to notice that things aren't working anymore, but I'm pretty active. And, we started looking at her nutrition and she had quite a few carbohydrates in her diet. There was like some pops and milk and fruit juices and various things like that. And so she joined my program. And again, I taught her how to address some of the hormonal imbalances that come up with perimenopause. Like I said, one of the main ones is that insulin resistance is starting to happen. And within 3 months, as you can see, that weight that once again was accumulating around her belly, you can see like that started to melt away in 3 months. And we got to the point at one point, she's like, okay, I need to stop losing weight now. And so we had to like tweak it and figure out, like, get her carbohydrates back up to kind of, put a halt to that. Okay. So what does a controlled carbohydrate plan look like? And there is no simple answer here because every single woman listening to this workshop today you're going to have your own unique tolerance for carbohydrates. I cannot give you a cookie cutter response because there is no cookie cutter response. But what I can do is give you a sense of some of the things that are going to affect it, right? So older women in this group, so women in this group that are in their 50s, or women in this group that are post-menopause, or women in their 40s that are sort of like really noticing, like, because some women are going to go into menopause a lot earlier. The closer you get to menopause, which is when you haven't had your period for 12 months, in case you don't know that, the closer you get to that, the less estrogen you're going to have. And estrogen protects your body against insulin resistance. So as that goes down, the chances of your insulin resistance going up is going to increase. And that is going to lower your unique tolerance for carbohydrates. Your activity level, okay? So women that are sedentary, women that have office jobs that spend most of their day sitting at a desk. Okay, that's me right now. Women who don't exercise very much, like maybe right now you're not exercising. Maybe you go for a couple walks, but you're not like hitting the gym. You're not doing strength training or HIIT workouts or whatever it may be. You're going to have less tolerance for carbohydrates. Maybe you've been eating a SAD diet for the past 10 to 20 years. A SAD is standard American diet or standard Canadian diet. Typically, it's going to be high in fat, high in carbs, a little bit more processed, right? That's going to affect your metabolic identity, right? Like your choices for the past 10 to 20 years are going to have an impact on how your metabolism is working right now today. So these are all things that are going to have an impact. What I'm going to teach you in the next step here is what does it look like to get about 100 grams of carbs a day? Okay, this is what we're going to call controlled carbs. You're going to have to play around with this, right? But this is a good starting point. And I like 100 grams because it's going to control your carbs. It's going to help you to manage your insulin, but it's not going to be overly restricted. Okay, it's still a very balanced approach that promotes fat loss. Okay, all right. So we're going to talk about macros. Okay, so I'm not doing a deep dive today. I'm going to give you a tool, but very quickly, macros, what it refers is macros is short for macronutrients, and macronutrients, there are 3: protein, carbs, and fat. Okay, that's all. There's 3 macronutrients, and every single food that you eat is going to be allotted to one of those macros. So chicken, protein; sweet potatoes, carbs; olive oil, fat. Now, each of these foods may have a combination of macros, but one of them is going to dominate, and that's how we're going to classify them into these different things. Now, for you to be able to create a controlled carbohydrate diet, then I think we can all agree you need to know what counts as a carb, right? You need to understand macros. So what I have for you today is I'm going to give you some tools to do that. I'm not going to give them to you right now. I'm going to get you set up with them. But essentially, I'm going to give you a list of foods for each of these categories. So I'm going to show you what those are look like. So you're going to get a list of protein sources, okay? And this is protein dense. So foods that are going to give you the best sort of bang for your buck when it comes to protein. I'm going to give you a list of carbohydrate sources. So these are foods that are going to be starchy or foods that are going to be sweet, okay? So starchy and sweet. I'm also going to give you a list of vegetables. Technically, vegetables are also a carbohydrate, but we're going to put them in a different category, and you'll understand why in a moment. And then I'm going to give you a list of fats, okay? Because that is the starting point. You need to know what foods are what. You need to know what are you eating when you have something. Is it protein? Is it carbs? Or is it fat? So I'm going to give you these lists. And on these lists, you're going to see, this is another cool thing, because again, it's not only about knowing what your macros are, but quality counts, especially over the age of 40, okay? So on each of these lists, you're going to see, there's going to be a green list that's going to say eat more. There's going to be a yellow list that's going to say eat some, and there's going to be a red list that says eat less, right? Just like a traffic light, just like a traffic light, right? Green means go, yellow means proceed with caution, red means stop. Doesn't mean you can't have red foods, right? It says eat less. I am not, all of my clients know, I want you to eat everything. I don't want you to have ever any foods that you can't eat. It's about learning how much of each you can have, okay? So basically, as you get this list of foods, just know that your goal is going to be to eat as much foods on the green list as possible, sprinkle in some yellow, save the red foods for special occasions, okay? So with this list, you will have the tool to start understanding what your macros are. And it's not going to happen overnight. There's no way I can teach you this overnight, but you're going to have this tool so that you can start to learn about the foods that you are eating. So that is step 1. Well, step 1 is to actually do it. That's busting your beliefs. Step 2 is understanding your macros and starting to pay attention to the food that you're eating and trying to incorporate more of these green foods. Step 3 is understanding how to build a meal that controls your carbohydrate intake. Okay, so that's what we're going to do next. So we're going to talk about what I call the PBS Plate. PBS stands for PeriMenopause Body Solutions. Okay, so it's about giving your body the macronutrients that it needs so that you can, again, balance out your hormones, optimize your metabolism, and promote fat loss, okay? And get more energy and better sleep and all, and lots of health benefits. But that's kind of what we're talking about today, okay? All right, so before I show you this plate, again, I like to teach with stories. And what I want you to know is that, again, I spent my 30s doing what the fitness experts told me. Okay, so I was a big fan of Toscarino. I read Oxygen magazine, all of these things. And for most of my 30s, I ate whole foods, I ate clean, but I ate like quinoa, wild rice, and all these things, and minimize my fat. Big fan of the Looney Spoons cookbooks. Maybe you've had those too. But again, I had these things pop up, like my insomnia and my IBS and my blood sugar issues. And it wasn't about the foods that I was eating. I was eating all of the right foods, but I wasn't eating them in the right ratios. Okay, and that's what we're going to learn here is the ratios. Making sure that you're getting the right amount of protein, making sure that you're controlling your intake of carbohydrates, making sure that you're getting enough vegetables, making sure that you're getting enough healthy fats. Okay. So that's what we're going to do here. I'm just checking my notes here. Okay. So right now, before we dive into this, we're going to be talking about controlled carb. A really important step here is going to be talking about fat. And I want to know how many of you currently are afraid that fat's going to make you fat. Okay. So in the comments, if you are currently afraid that fat is going to make you fat, I just want you to put the word fat so that I know, because this is a very common, this is one of those limiting beliefs that we need to bust in order for you to benefit from what I'm teaching you today. And what I want you to understand is that fat is only going to make you fat if you eat a ton of carbs at the same time. Okay. It's kind of like, I want you to think of kind of like carbs and fat as living on a seesaw. As carbs go up, fat must come down. As fat goes up, carbs must come down. The worst possible combination to gain weight is lots of carbs and lots of fat. Like I said before, that is the standard American diet or the standard Canadian diet. But if you learn to balance them out, you're going to be fine. Okay. You just have to make sure that you get the ratios where they need to be. So just to give you an idea, my clients that join my program, I get them to eat between 80 and 120 grams of fat a day, healthy fat every single day. To put that into perspective, that's about 9 tablespoons of olive oil, okay? And they're eating plenty of fat, but we're controlling their carbs and they are losing weight. And they're doing it without going on a 1,200 calorie diet. They're not hungry all the time. The food tastes delicious because who doesn't like food made with butter? And they're not hungry, they don't have cravings, they have a ton of energy, okay? So what I wanna do next is I wanna show you a super simple tool for taking those lists that I just gave you and building your own sort of plates so that you can experience those benefits too, okay? Does that sound good? Give me a thumbs up if you're still following along here, and we're gonna dive in. So what I'm gonna get you to do is, my diagram isn't very pretty. My daughter's still around, so I don't have a ton of time to focus on creating these workshops right now. But so I put this up yesterday. It's not very pretty, but what I want you to do is I want you right now to go get a piece of paper and a pen, because we're going to create a tool that you're going to put up on your fridge and you're going to start to work with it. Okay, so go get a piece of paper and a pen. And again, the idea here is we're going to take the list of foods, which I'm going to get to you. And we're going to use this tool, and the two together are going to help you to start making those first steps towards creating your own controlled carbohydrate plan. Okay. Now, what you're going to do is, now that you have your piece of paper and your pen, you're going to draw a big circle on that piece of paper about the size of a plate. Okay. And then what I want you to do is I want you to draw a line down the middle of the plate so that you have sort of like 2 halves, okay? On the 1 half of the plate, you're gonna write veggies, okay? And when you go back, remember the vegetable rainbow, this is one of the lists that I'm gonna give you. Half of that plate, this list, okay? This is what I want you to be using, okay? Then on the other half of the plate, you're going to kind of divide that half into like a third section and a 2/3 section. Okay, kind of like I've got it up on the board here. In the bigger section, you're going to write protein. Okay, and in that smaller little pie, you're going to write carbs. Okay, so protein, if I go back to my list, okay, you're going to be trying to aim to put about 2/3 of your plate is going to be, again, those green sources of protein, and that little wedge is going to be your carbs. Okay, and then at the bottom of your plate or off to the side or wherever you want, I want you to write 4 thumbs of fat. Okay, and you're going to be using your fat sources, and you're going to add about 4 thumbs. Okay, so it could be like, you know, cooking your vegetables in some avocado oil, or maybe you're drizzling a dressing on your salad, or maybe you're tossing some nuts or some seeds in there, right? So you're adding some fat. Now, this is going to be really, really key here, that 4 thumbs of fat. Okay, I'm going to go back to my chart here. Adding the 4 thumbs of fat is super, super key here, even if you are afraid of fat. This is a super big mistake that so many women make, because a lot of women, when I say, yeah, we're going to do like a low carb, healthy fats approach, all they hear is low carb. Okay, they don't hear this healthy fats. So they cut out their carbs, but they don't add the fat, and suddenly they're hungry and they're cranky and they have no energy. And they don't get all of the benefits that I've been talking about. And that's because they're on a 1,200 calorie diet or less, because they haven't replaced the calories from the carbs with calories from fats. So this is super, super important. Okay, because remember, if you're on a 1,200 calorie diet, you're going to slow down your metabolism. We do not want to be doing that. Okay, so you have this little plate, and what I want you to do again is I want you to think about how you're going to start building your meals, right? So you want to have lots and lots of vegetables, anything from that rainbow of vegetables. You're going to have a good sized portion of protein dense foods. This is going to help keep you satiated. It's going to help keep that hunger in check. You're going to have a little wedge of carbs, which means you still get to eat the carbs. You're just learning to eat it in moderation, and you're adding your fat. Okay, now what I want you to do is think of this as just like a nice visual that you can use, but don't worry about perfection here. Don't worry about waking up tomorrow and nailing this, because this is a skill. You would not expect to learn how to play tennis overnight. Do not expect to wake up tomorrow morning and know how to build a controlled carb nutrition plan. It's gonna take time. Just practice. Have that on your fridge, have your lists, and start practicing. You know, when I first started keto, I remember, again, this isn't keto, but just I'm putting myself back in where I think you may feel right now. But I remember I was like, oh my God, this is so different. I've never cooked this way. I don't know how to do it. And I was overwhelmed, and I was just like, and I just remember I was like, you know what, just try make breakfast. Just try make breakfast. And I was like, just try make a lunch. Just try make a dinner. And then I just kind of started building those strategies, or building my skill set, right? But it took time. And at the beginning, I had to really focus on what I was doing. And now, what I'm showing you right now, this controlled carbohydrate nutrition, this is just what I do automatically. This is what my family eats every single day. I don't have to think about it. I've got all my strategies. I've got all my recipes. I know how to do it. I don't have to put any thought into it. But at the beginning, you're going to have to put a little bit of thought into it, okay? So let me ask you this. Oh, this is another client. I wanted to show you this one too. This is, you know, when it comes down to limiting beliefs, once again, this is, and maybe right now feeling a little overwhelmed and wondering, can I do this? This is a woman who, you know, she came to me, and her doctor had just told her that she was, I can't remember if she was pre-diabetic or diabetic. Can't remember, pre-diabetic. And again, this is, you know, pretty typical of women post-menopause. Estrogen goes down, insulin goes up. A lot of women develop type 2 diabetes. And so she came to me and she's like, look, you know, my doctor told me I'm pre-diabetic. I need to make some changes. I hate cooking. And I was like, okay, if you're going to join my program, you're going to have to learn how to cook, because My approach is a whole foods approach, and you're gonna have to cook. But her reason to do it was deep enough, right? She was like, this is my health. I want to be here for my grandkids. I need to do this. And so she committed to the program. She learned how to cook this way. She ended up losing 30 pounds in 14 weeks. Okay. And then continued on from there. But these are some of the photos that I have from back then. So let me ask you this. If you were to do this, if you were to go, again, get rid of some of the limiting beliefs that you may have at the moment, right? Get rid of them. Get rid of what you think about carbs, what you think about dieting, what you think about calories, what you think about fat, okay? And then you take my list of foods and you focus on buying green foods. Just get them in your kitchen, right? Get those green foods, the green protein, the green carbs, the vegetables, and the healthy fats, okay? And you take your tool, your little plate tool, and you just start trying to make meals that give you that visual. Do you think that you can also teach your body how to burn fat? Okay, give me a yes in the comments if you're starting to feel like maybe you're just like feeling a little bit more hopeful, right? Maybe some inspiration here. Hopefully you're excited by what we've just talked about and hopeful that you can see results, because I'm telling you that you can. And I understand that maybe you're feeling a little overwhelmed. That is also completely normal. Just checking here to see what you guys if there's any comments coming up. And maybe you're not too sure if this can happen. And again, I totally get that. And, like I said, it's hard for me to give you everything that you need to do in a 60-minute presentation, because there's so much that I can teach you about your hormones, about your metabolism, about everything, right? About how to really eat for your body right now, so that you can feel in control again. Because I know that's a big thing, is a lot of women feel like they've completely lost control. Okay, so I know some of you are like, okay, this is it, I want to do this, and you're ready to move forward. So if it's okay with you, I'm going to take the next 10 minutes to just go over what my program does that I have created to help you implement this specifically and other stuff. And I'll just go over it for 10 minutes for those of you who are just like, I need some help figuring out how to implement this, okay? So the program that I've created, it's called PeriMenopause Body Solutions. It is a 6-month program. Yes, you heard me correctly. It is 6 months. It's not 6 weeks. It's 6 months. And it's 6 months because it's not a diet. It's a lifestyle change. Okay. It is about changing your habits. It's about building new skills, and that takes time. Okay. So what we do inside this program is we start with something called the Happy Hormones Reset. And I like to think of this as metabolic rehab. Okay. And it's just 3 weeks. And during this sort of 3-week period, we're doing 3 things. We're trying to reduce inflammation. We're trying to lower insulin and lower blood sugar levels. And we're trying to work on your metabolic flexibility, which is your ability to burn fat. Believe it or not, your body forgets how to do this. So we train your body, and we basically set your body up so that you can continue to lose weight throughout the program. Most of my clients will lose 5 to 10 pounds. I have some clients that will lose up to 20 pounds in that first month together, okay? Once we've done that, once we've gone through this metabolic rehab, this is when we're gonna dive into controlled carbohydrate nutrition, okay? So this is where you're gonna learn to really do everything we've done today and turn it into sort of like your lifestyle. You are going to learn different protocols. You're going to learn basically exactly how to build your meals. And again, the point here is that it's not a 1,200 calorie diet. It's about learning how to eat in order to support your changing hormones, in order to optimize your metabolism so that you're in control of your hunger, you feel satiated in between meals, you have less cravings, you have more energy, and you're literally promoting your body to burn fat as your major fuel source. Okay, so that's what you're going to be learning all about. And I've really tried to take all of the guesswork out of this. So you're going to learn something called the macro simplified method, which is basically means that I'm going to teach you how to, again, kind of like what you did today. You got a little bit of a formula. I have multiple formulas. to teach you how to build your meals in a way that you can do that without counting your calories, without tracking your macros. You're going to get meal plans. You're going to get over 150 recipes. I have laid it out for you. Now, once we have optimized your macros, we've got your calories in check, we've got your carbs in check, then the next thing that I'm going to teach you about is what I like to think of as hormone-sensitive fat loss. There is a science to weight loss. And again, a lot of programs won't teach you this. A lot of programs are just going to teach you about calories in, calories out. And a lot of them are going to be detrimental to your metabolism. I don't want you to diet harder. I don't want you to go to extremes. I want you to diet smarter. And that's what I teach women to do inside this program. So I teach them how to optimize that fat burning without impacting their hormones or without impacting their metabolism. So you don't mess up your thyroid. You don't mess up your adrenals. You don't slow down your metabolism. You don't hit this weight loss plateau that you can't get out of. You don't gain all the weight back when you reach your goal, okay? This is about dieting smarter, not harder, okay? The program also comes with a complete workout plan. And the idea with the workouts is 3. I want you to burn fat, I want you to build muscle, and I want you to manage cortisol. Cortisol is like that hormone that you release when your body is stressed out. It also happens to be the top culprit of belly fat. Insulin and cortisol, those are the 2 hormones that you need to get a handle on. Those are the 2 key ones, okay? If you can get a handle on those 2, you're gonna rock it, okay? So I'll teach you how to do that. Now, this is a personal coaching program. In other words, it's not about me giving you PDFs and just saying, hey, best of luck, here you go. This is personal coaching, which means that I am with you every single step of the way through this entire process. We have one-on-one coaching sessions every 2 weeks so that we can talk about your, what's working for you, what's not working for you. We can address those limiting beliefs. We can take a better look at your hormones, at your metabolism, at your habits, figure out systems and strategies that work for you, that work for your life, your personal preferences, how your body is working. And if you're not seeing results, we can customize the whole program specifically to you and your current body, okay? So one-on-one coaching. You have 24/7 access to me. You can message me anytime with any question. On top of that, I use an app that will keep you accountable to the program every single day. Okay, so every single day, you're going to be tracking what you do. You're going to be weighing in once a week. We're going to be looking at all of your stats together. And on top of that, finally, the last layer of support is I have a private group that is just for my clients. We do a little group coaching session once a week where we dive a little bit further into all of this, into the, sometimes we're talking about science, we're talking about hormones, we're talking about metabolism. Sometimes we're diving into like practical strategies. Yesterday, we talked about going on to any website out there and taking their meals and tweaking them so that they can help with their goals of facilitating fat loss, okay? So you get a ton out of this program. So if if you are interested in doing this, or just finding out if this is the right thing for you, what I would recommend that you do is book a free strategy session with me. And I'm going to leave you with this one other little piece of advice. And this is something that I think is really key here. So again, one of my mentors told me, or this thing that kind of like really struck me. He's like, stop looking for how and find who. In other words, stop trying to figure out how can I fix my metabolism, fix my hormones, figure out how to take control of my body right now, and start looking at who can help me. Because like I said, I have been studying this now for 7 years. I've been in this industry for 15 years. I've been studying specifically perimenopause and menopause fat loss for 7 years. I have attended so many seminars and so many summits. I've read so many books. I've taken so many courses. So I can fast track your learning. So you can continue to look on Google. You can watch all of my workshops. There's tons of them. And if you want to do it that way, do it that way. But if you want me to help you fast track, if you want me to kind of speed up your results, then book the free strategy session. Okay. And what we're going to do, think of this as a meet and greet. What we're going to do is we're going to get super clear on 3 things. And this is going to be a coaching session. It's a free coaching session. You're going to get super clear on where you're at right now. You're going to get super clear on where you want to be in 6 to 12 months and why that's important to you. And you're going to get super clear on what is getting in the way. At the very least, you're going to walk away with way more clarity than you have right now. If it makes sense to you, and if it makes sense to me, and I think that you're a good fit for the program, I'll tell you a little bit more about what is involved, and you can talk about any questions or any concerns that you have. It's not a pressure sale. It really is just to give you all of the information so that you can decide, is this right for me or is it not? Is this what I want to do or is it not? All right. So you can see there's the link there. I will get that link out to you as well when I send out the replay with the cheat sheets and because I'm going to give you those 4 lists, right? So I'll send you that link. You can book a session. This is a great time to do it, right? Fall, in my opinion, one of the best times to really dial in your nutrition because there's less special occasions. Most women want to start nesting and they want to start cooking and stay home more. Great time to do it. If you decide to commit, we will take you right through Christmas. We will take you right through the holidays. And maybe that freaks you out like, oh, I can't go through the holidays on a weight loss program. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Okay. So that's the link there. Does anybody have any questions? Any questions at all that I can help you out with? I've got about 5 more minutes here. Let me make sure that I don't have a call coming up. I don't think I do. But any questions whatsoever? If you have any questions, you can put them in the comments and I will happily answer those for you. Anything else? Okay. I think we are all good. If anything comes up, feel free to, let me just stop share here. Stop share. Yeah, if anything else comes up, again, you'll get the recording. You can listen to this again. You could start going through the list of foods. You could start trying to create your own meals. If anything comes up, please reach out. I'm here to help. This group is here to help. Whether you decide to join my program or not, you can still reach out to me. You can ask some of the women that have been in this group now for 2-3 years. I will respond. I will help you out. I'm happy to do that. I will be going live every single month on a topic, kind of like we did today, giving you some tools. But if you need help, if you need to speed up those results, or you need someone to just tell you exactly what to do so that you don't have to figure it out by yourself, let me know. Book a strategy session. Until then, have an amazing weekend. Thank you so much for joining me and for staying with me to the very end. I really hope that you learned something. I hope I gave you some tools that you can start to implement right away. Have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you all again very soon. Bye.